You're listening to She's the Business podcast, and today we're talking about the real side of relationship marketing, how you can build a brand that your clients actually fall in love with for the long term. Stay tuned, it's coming right up. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and over the last 25 years in marketing and business, I've helped many brands to launch, scale, and grow, with some of them becoming multi-billion-dollar companies. I'm here to inspire you to get out of your own way and create a profitable, fulfilling business while living the lifestyle you really desire, without all the hustle. So I bring you She's the Business podcast, a unique blend of strategies, tactics, mindset, health, and spirituality, literally everything you need to be the successful leader of your dream business. Made by women for women, this is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration. Joining me on the podcast today is the lovely Hunter Myers, who's the founder and chief matchmaker at Verdure Design Co. She helps businesses connect with their ideal customers through strategic brand positioning and design. She has a pretty unconventional background in English and sociology, paired with over a decade of design and illustration experience. So she sees branding as a kind of relationship building, and her brand matchmaking method helps entrepreneurs swap those unforgettable beginner branding mistakes for real authentic personalities that spark genuine connections. You're absolutely going to love this conversation that we have. It goes into all areas of brand, of relationship marketing, and really what it boils down to is the true meaning of attraction-based marketing, how you actually attract your ideal clients. We get right into it. We cover a bit of AI, and I know you're going to get a lot out of this conversation. So without further ado, let me play the interview for you. Hello, everyone. So I'm back in the studio today with the lovely Hunter Myers, who is the founder of Verdure Design. Welcome, Hunter. So good to have you here.
Hi. Yes, I am so excited to be chatting. Thank you so much for bringing me on the show.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love having conversations with other people who are in the marketing space. I know we've already touched on quite a few really cool points before we hit record. So we've got so much to talk about today. I'm really keen to get into it. Before we do, would you like to share with us a little bit about what you do in your business? Who does Verdure Design help? What's your specialization?
Yeah, so I do branding and design. So I started this about 5.5 years ago. It's crazy, time has flown by. But I worked for a small marketing company prior to that and found that I really enjoy the branding side of graphic design. I love telling stories. I actually have a background in English and sociology. And so combining the strategy of branding with the visual storytelling of design is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
And so I work with women and queer-owned businesses, helping them develop brands and kind of up-level their brands in a way that really attracts their clients. And we're going to talk about attraction, I'm sure, on this, this podcast today as we chat more, because attraction is one of the key through lines of a lot of what I talk about. So, but I don't want to give too much away. We'll dive into the conversation.
That's all good. I totally agree. I think, as obviously we both come from marketing backgrounds, and I think this is where the attraction, it's one word, it's a simple word, right? But then I feel like so many people really just don't get it. And I'm like, if you're doing your marketing right, the people are coming to you. You don't have to be out there literally hunting them down, chasing them, doing all this heavy, hard work. They find you, they see you, they are out there. The ones who want you, they're already looking, and it's a matter of that connection happening. And that's why, I just feel like the word attraction is kind of thrown around so much, but also used in places and sometimes by people who aren't really using it, I think, in the same way that we intend it, meaning attract. It's that doesn't mean you're DMing 100 people a day in their inbox. That is not attraction. That is prospecting. It's the opposite. It's the opposite kind of force going on. you can attract people to you when you've actually got your brand and your messaging, your marketing, your positioning, right? So I'm keen to hear, a little bit more on that from your perspective, and then how you sort of see, because today we're talking about relationship marketing, so building that brand your clients fall in love with. Let's start with the attraction piece and how you see that, because obviously it's a huge part of what you do. And then moving into what does that mean in terms of the relationship?
Yeah, so relationships are a huge part of what I teach my clients, which is kind of weird, right? Because like I'm not a dating coach, right? I'm branding.
Yeah.
But what I tell my people is you already know how to build relationships. You already know how to market. You
Mm,
have been doing this in your personal lives and in your dating lives since you entered the dating sphere, right?
yeah.
Now, the goal with business and branding is to kind of do that for your business side of things. Like
Mm,
marketing is that for your business. And so the attraction is really, really important here because you don't want to be getting into a relationship with someone who isn't attracted to you,
yeah.
right? And you don't want to be trying to attract everyone
Yeah.
either. Like I tell
No.
people it's like you go into a bar, right? And you're like, okay, if you're going into the bar saying that you're going to go home with anybody from the bar, I almost guarantee you're not going to have a good night.
Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely not a good next day when you kind of recall what was going
Right.
on.
Exactly. Yet I feel like in business,
Mm,
we forget that that same thing applies. Like if you're showing up and you're trying to attract everybody, it's going to be so much harder for you to actually draw people in
yeah.
because there are certain aspects of you and a brand that will connect naturally with the kind of people you want to be working with. But if you aren't tailoring that and aren't working with people who can help you with
Mm.
that attraction piece, you're gonna be like the person who goes to the bar and wakes up the next morning not exactly having the best time.
Yeah. And like when you think about it, put yourself in that place where you're in the bar and you're literally just trying to attract anyone. Well, you're going to start acting really strangely, right? Because you don't know who you're meant to
Yes.
be. Like, am I meant to be like sophisticated and cool and calm and sipping on a martini? Or should I be this like loud and over the top, boisterous person, that looks like the life of the party? Like, you're just going to feel so unlike yourself because you're not going to know who you really should be because you're literally trying to attract anyone. And then maybe it's even the
Yes.
flip side where you just totally withdraw and think and freeze and think, I don't even know what to say or do, so I'm not going to be anything and I'm just going to sit here like a quiet mouse and hope someone notices me. And it's almost like that exact analogy plays out in business. How often do you see that?
Right. I mean, I see that all the time. And then what winds up happening, right, is business owners stop marketing.
Yeah.
You feel uncomfortable. You feel like
Yeah.
you don't know what you're doing because you're trying to be so many different things. I just actually spoke at a conference on this and related marketing to flirting. And I told this story about how I used to think that I was horrible at flirting. Like I felt like I was so awkward and all these other things, but it was because I was trying to be like my friends who were really good at flirting. But
Mm.
it wasn't until I sat down with one of my really good friends who was like, bitch, you got to stop. Like stop trying to be like everybody else, be yourself. This will work for you. That it really dawned on me. And so when I found myself
Mm.
in my business saying the exact same thing, I'm trying to replicate what all the gurus are doing. I'm trying to, be like this business or that business. And then I just feel like I'm bad at marketing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh,
Mm-hmm.
this is exactly the same thing. Like, what if in our brands we really do, show up with more of that? And the word authenticity is, a buzzword right now, but really just showing up with elements of your personality
Mm.
that number one, light you up. Like people want to connect with brands that light them up. And when
Mm.
you are lit up, people can feel that.
Yeah.
And so finding a way to incorporate that into your brand and your business and your marketing so the attraction is easier. So you don't have to pretend to be somebody else and you can be just yourself, which I promise you is a lot more fun to show up in business as yourself than it is to try to show up as somebody else. And it's a
Yeah,
lot less work
I
too.
know. Yeah, totally.
You know?
Hmm. And it's like,
Yeah.
I think there's a couple of things in that as well, because you may have experienced, in your earlier years when you come out, get a job, you sort of almost told to be a certain way. And like, I remember I moved over to London in the UK, and it was like over there, you don't even call yourself any kind of serious professional if you're not wearing a suit. So you had to have like the blazer, the pants or the skirt. Like, it was a full suit. And I remember coming back here to Australia and walking into the first job interview, and they were like, "Whoa, like, you're really well dressed." And I was like, "This is just standard in London." But it hadn't even realized or occurred to me that I'd kind of been, I'm not going to say groomed, but it was like the culture groomed you to act and be in a certain way. And it wasn't really me. And I was like, oh, it just felt so freeing to be like, okay, I can be professional here and not wear the clothes that were like, the standard of London's business world, which was so good and refreshing. And like, thank goodness, because it's hot and I don't want to be wearing a suit. But it was like, there's that. And then, I was thinking, also just around when you see someone who is being themselves, like actually truly being themselves, you know, like there's something about that I think we all just get drawn to, like subconsciously without really realizing it. It's sort of like that person is almost like putting out a magnetic field, right? They're drawing you in. You notice them, and you can just see that they're comfortable in their own skin. There's something about them, and maybe I'm struggling right now to put words to it. Maybe you've got some good words for it, but I'm like, there's that. It's that factor that people have. And it doesn't mean that you have to be the biggest extrovert or anything. You can literally be whatever you are, but people will know whether you're putting masks on. Like, they can kind of see that you're either hiding and you're trying to be something, or if you are literally standing in what I like to call your personal power. Like, you've claimed it back from all the places that you've left it over the years. And then you're like, I am in my personal power. This is me. And, like it or leave it, whatever, when you're in that place, I think people love it. They love it more than anything. And I think, from what you were saying, that's what made me think of it a minute ago. It's like when you can decide you can do that in your business and be seen in that way, how much more powerful your brand becomes. And it's not just your brand, it's just everything that you're doing will probably seem to work, right? Because people will be drawn to you.
Exactly. And I think something that's important to note here is when people can tell that you're being yourself, they're going to trust you a lot more, because they can see, okay, wait a second, like, especially, and we were kind of talking a little bit about this before we hopped on here, so I'm so excited that it's coming up. But like, we're entering an era now where like the perfect image, the perfect curated life, the perfect business, the perfect professional is no longer trustworthy. Like, that was the thing that was pushed for us, I would say, like what, late 2010s, early 2020s, right? Like, that was the thing. And that is how you got taken seriously. Mm-hmm. But now, especially with the introduction of AI and how many things are done from perhaps like a non-human, a non-authentic, a non-perfect or an imperfect kind of place, right? Like, we aren't trusting things that look too clean, or seem too right,
perfect.
too perfect, right? And I think also, like, people want to connect, and they want to see a bit of themselves. And so when you're operating a brand or a business, right, like you're acting as a leader for your audience, for your customers, your clients. Like, you are leading them on some kind of journey. Now, that leading doesn't necessarily mean you're in front of them the whole time, but you do act as some kind of guide. And people need to see that you also make mistakes, right? They need to see that you also have flaws and that you also are human, because that is what makes them feel comfortable enough to trust you on that journey anyways. We don't want to, it's like wanting to be trained by a like really phenomenal athlete. Like, a lot of people would be way too intimidated to be trained by one who seems to never make any mistakes, right? Because they can't relate that same way. And brands, like, relatability in a brand is going to be one of the most important things. I am predicting it now in these coming years with marketing, especially with, like I said, the divide that's kind of been created through AI and through this over
Mm.
curated life, and like the curtains that are starting to be pulled back on, hey, actually, like this isn't real and this isn't real and that's not real. Like it feels like very Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
Like there's this wizard behind the curtain and we're finally seeing like the peek behind the curtain. You're
Yeah.
like, okay, wait a second.
Yeah, yeah, it was
So
all just a show before. And I find it so interesting because, like, it's literally changing before our eyes. And, like you said, so 15 years ago, even like before that, definitely as well. I mean, I used to work for banks and things. So you can imagine how, like, stringent the brand guidelines were. If you had something a millimeter out of, like, there was all hell to pay. Anyway, that's another story. But it was everything we had to be perfect and very professional. And it was like professional to the point of zero personality and boring. And I remember when Virgin brand kind of came and became really big, and it was like they had cut through because there was personality. They were like, they were out there, they were doing things, and they were still professional, but they had personality, and there was such a difference there. Then you see now when AI came in, I almost feel like everyone went, oh my God, thank goodness. I've got something that can do this for me. Now I can be more perfect because it's not me anymore. I don't have my human error. And then like seeing the whole faceless brigade like out there going, we don't want to put our faces on anything. I can hide behind. And I'm just like, I could not think of anything literally worse for your business than trying to hide more behind something that is computer generated, because we're flooded with it. And like you say, and we were having this chat before we jumped on, I get all these like podcast pitches I had about 3 or 4 a day, it seems like recently, right? And some of them, like they are to the most part written by AI, and some of them they're getting really clever. The first line, I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Like, what a lovely compliment. And then I go, oh, hang on, this is the same template that I've seen already like 3 or 4 times today. And it's even the same kind of way that they even structure the layout of the email with the bolding and everything. And I'm like, it is so obviously AI. Straight away, the compliment means nothing. I can't even remember what they said now, like, because I'm like, well, it hasn't actually come from a person. The computer wrote that. So it has no weight to it anymore. It doesn't mean anything. And they're trying to get me to say, great, come on my podcast. I'm like, I don't even know who you are. This hasn't even been written by you. So I'm just like, in the bin, in the bin, in the bin. Like, please, we kind of, and this is the thing I think we're going to start seeing. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on how we can use AI for the good, like in a way that maybe is going to actually help us and help this important relationship that we're actually starting to crave, real human connection, to the point that we're getting bombarded by so much that now we think we don't know whether something's true or not. We're going to go on the side of it's probably AI. We're not thinking it's probably human. We're doing the opposite, right? Is that our default now? So how do we be more human? But then is there a place for AI that can do something really good for us? Hey, do you know the main difference between the top coaches, thought leaders, and experts and everyone else? Well, maybe we could ask the question, like, how did they become the sought after expert in their area? Well, let me tell you, it's not big advertising budgets. It's not some secret funnel or social media hack that they're doing that no one else knows about. And it's not a big audience or doing PR. Yes, they may do those things. They might have a big budget now and a big audience and have PR, but that's not the reason why they became the sought after expert. What they did that no one else has done to that same level is that they got laser focused on their area of specialization. They got radically clear about it. They became bold. They claimed their space and they stood in it. They talked about it. They didn't try to go broad. They didn't try to serve all of the people. And even though you may look at them now and think, but they do now, they didn't when they started, when they began, when they first got to their first 100K, 200K, even probably 1 million, they were laser focused in one area. So if you're tired of being just another voice in the crowd, another person who's struggling to be seen and heard because, let's face it, it's crowded out there, then the best thing that you can do for your business is to zone in
on your area of expertise. What makes you unique, special? What is the difference that you bring that can make you stand apart from others? And it's not in your service offering, by the way. That's where a lot of people try to do it. They try to just offer something different. That's not it, because it turns into a pricing decision in that case. I'm talking about your positioning in the market. If you're not positioned as the go-to expert, then you'll never be seen as the go-to expert. You'll never become the sought-after expert who has a wait list full of people lining up to work with you. So how do you do it? What is that? Well, I've developed a framework that has helped so many coaches, consultants, and service providers who've come into my world to create their own category, to literally create a space in their niche where they stand out, where they shine. And I've now made it available to you as a standalone program. It's literally just 7 days. I call it the Niche Buster because this is where you come in, and by the end of just 7 days, you have your breakthrough niche, meaning this is the niche that is the perfect fit for you, perfect fit for where you want to be with your business in the market and for your own ideal clients. There is no carbon copy of anyone else going on. This is literally the one that has been custom made, tailored for you and your business. Right now, I'm offering you a crazy 75% off that program, but it's not for long. It's only literally going to close really soon. So jump over to the link in the show notes here. Scroll down, click on the link for the Niche Buster program. Go through, claim that 75%, and then you can enroll. You will have access to this. This is a lifetime access program, but I encourage you not to wait a lifetime before you do it. It's only 7 days. It is so short. One little piece each day. You can fit it in and around your busy schedule. It's been designed that way so that you can get it in, get it done, and within 1 week from now, if you do this right now, in a week's time, you're going to be in a totally different zone for your business. How exciting is that? Let's get into it, get started, and I can't wait to hear how you get on. And now let's get back to the episode.
Yeah, well, I am still like dipping my toes into AI. Like I have met people who do like a wicked amount of AI. I've met people who are completely against it. I feel like I'm kind of falling into the middle. Like I'm skeptical, but I'm like, I probably like, I need to learn something here.
Yeah.
Right. And what I am seeing from my experience with AI and ways to still keep it human is letting AI help you in your kind of brainstorming phase. Like use it as a thought partner, but not as the sole like executing member of whatever task you're having it do. Like use it kind of as a middle ground. So sit down, kind of do your own brain dump. But what AI is really good at is finding patterns. And so now that you've dumped your brain, hey, AI, help me clean this up. Help me find the things that I'm missing here. Like it is a great tool to explore different ideas with and potentially see some different perspectives that you're not thinking of right away. So, and this is especially nice for solopreneurs or business owners who don't necessarily have a large team that they can bounce ideas off of. So that would be the big thing. And then make sure that you are going in and editing it. Like make sure that you are adjusting what is there. Like it is very easy to assume, and I love talking about this calculator bias. I don't know if you know what the calculator bias is. Do you? I mean,
I
listeners
don't
may
know.
not, so I
No, I
might as
haven't
well
heard
share
that
it.
before,
Okay.
but like, share.
Okay. Yeah. So this calculator bias is this concept that when calculators were released, because calculators were so good at running numbers, right? People started to believe that because calculators were so good and this it was a machine versus like a human doing math, that calculators and computers and any kind of like tech like that is smarter than the human. And so that is what needs to be believed. But what we're seeing is like AI is making a lot of mistakes. And what it really is it's just predictive text.
Yeah.
Like it is taking whatever you're giving it, just like remember when phones just came out and you could write part of your sentence and then see if it would predict the rest of it,
Yeah.
right? Like that's kind of what AI is doing, but is just a much more robust system.
Yes.
And so making sure that you're reviewing what is being given to you and adding in your own language, giving also, like, if you want it to write some stuff for you, like make sure that you give it your brand voice.
Yeah.
Like what key things do you talk about? I had a client who was trying to write something with AI and I was like, oh my gosh, like none of the things that make your brand yours are in this.
No.
Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't sound like you. This sounds like a complete separation from
Yeah.
the brand that you're building. And so, like, you've got to work with it. Like, I think what we have been sold as AI is this replacement. Like, stop doing all these tasks, AI will do it for you. And I think that's a trap that we will find ourselves falling into if we don't pause for a moment and start viewing it more as a partner than a replacement, because interacting with it is how you will maintain your brand and still, have the productivity you want to have.
Yeah.
But make sure that there's still a human element in it, because like we talked about, people are picking up on it.
Yeah.
People are like, I don't trust this anymore. I don't believe this. I don't know who this person is.
Yes.
Like, it's a very polarizing topic.
Totally. And like you say, I mean, it's just literally happening in front of our face. So I love watching and sort of seeing what's happening. And, I think for me, the best way I could describe how you should be thinking about your AI is that it's like an employee. And so you'd never expect to hire a brand new employee and have them completely up to speed and be able to do everything in your voice and write for you on day one. But I feel like a lot of people did that, or they've kind of, they've done a few prompts in there, but it's like, it takes a year. When you hire someone into your team in a company, it takes a year really for them to be fully ingrained in, your values, the voice, the tone, how you do things. Doesn't really matter what role it is. I mean, I'm talking obviously more from a marketing perspective, but it does take that time. And you still probably wouldn't expect it to be perfect. You wouldn't expect it to be at the level you are, because you are the originator, the creator. So it's still not going to be right. So like you said, I love that it's, use it for the stuff that can take some time away. And where I've seen some really cool things, and I've been testing and trying things out, I built a bot because I used to, well, I still do. I've got this customer avatar creation that is very deep. Like, it's much more in the mindset and the thinking of your ideal client. And I know that people would do it, and the ones who would actually go through and answer the questions, they'd find it so useful. But I know that sometimes it's stopping people from, because it's harder. It's not like, how old are they? And are they a man or a woman? And, it's none of that surface stuff. It's like, it's way, way deeper. And so I was like, maybe I can build a bot for this. And so I created a custom bot. So yes, you still answer some questions, you put it into the bot, but then that'll spit out the profile for you. So you kind of are taking away a bit, like, you still are the generator, because your client. The bot doesn't know who your ideal client is. Like, you've got to describe some stuff, but then it can help you put all this different things together into a really nice human format. And I was thinking, hey, I could do the same for my brand stuff, because I kind of give them all of those structure and the format of, like, here's how to think about your brand, your personality, like how that relates to the colors, fonts. But unless you've really done that for a while, that would be easy. But if you're brand new into business and that's not your background, I was looking at it the other day thinking, that would actually be something I could build another bot for, just to help people plug in some inputs. And then the bot could kind of go, right, here's a really good output, and help them to, align stuff like the personality with the right colors and the fonts, right? Because it's like, hey, if you've got a really light, bright personality, then you're not going to go for the deep navy as your brand color, because there's like a complete disconnect there, as an example. So that would be some cool stuff that you could use AI for, because it can help to make sense of things and help you to speed up the thinking. I think that was the grinding part that we used to do. We'd be like, okay, even if you've got a template to follow, like it was like, actually, what now does that mean? How do I connect this bit to that bit? And I think AI could help us hugely there. And that's not a dangerous place for it to be. I think that's where it's really useful, because it's kind of still internal, and then you can look at the external part of it. But
yeah, well, I feel like it can serve as a bridge of sorts. Now, I do think that we have to be careful in handing off the thinking, because I think that's another area that people have kind of
yes,
well, I just won't think anymore at all. I'll just have I'll have the AI come up with all my ideas for me. But the problem with that is the AI is taking ideas from whatever's already out there.
yeah,
So if you want to be any kind of thought leader, anything like that in the space, like you have to think.
exactly.
And you can use AI as that
Mm.
bridge where, okay, here's all my thoughts. How do we organize them? So I agree. I think it'll be really neat to see where it goes. I think that it's going to make a lot of things a little more accessible. So I think of Canva, for example. And I remember when Canva came out, like as a designer, a designer who used Adobe, like I got really frustrated, right? Because I was like, well, I feel like these people who are using Canva, like don't quite know the design lingo or know exactly how these layouts and stuff are, but it made it more accessible. And over time, I feel like it has drastically improved. I feel like people are learning more. And I think that accessibility is so important because it levels a field a bit and it allows people to be creative. And so I'll be very curious to see how AI affects some of that and like what it does. Like I use Canva now quite regularly. Like I still have my Adobe programs, but like anything that is done for like an online graphic or anything that can be done pretty quickly, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm not going to clunk around in Photoshop and Illustrator when I could just whip it up real quick here in Canva. And then especially if it's something that I want to hand off to clients.
Yes.
Right? Like clients, I don't expect my clients to have all the Adobe programs, so giving them something that they can use. And I think that AI could potentially be that bridge in some places if we're really smart about how we're using it. I think there are definitely some things that we need to work on. I think that there are some ethical things that should be, looked at both environmentally, but also with regards to like how it's scraping information and stuff. But I would say overall, there are definitely benefits to it, especially for business owners who maybe don't have the funds to hire a huge team right away, right? Like it's like you talked about your bot, like this gives them kind of that stopgap to get the information they need to get going, and then they can hire. And I think that's the thing that's going to be really interesting is the role that service providers, especially creatives, will play in the future. Because I feel like what we're going to start seeing is human design. Like I'm going to say human design. I don't mean like the human design, like the numbers and stuff, but like humans designing
design.
Exactly. Right. I think that that's going to be a new, like niched, nuanced thing where it's kind of going to be like the new fine art. Like people are going to be drawn to it for its own reasons and purposes. And so I think that there's definitely going to be shift and change in the market, but I think that there will still be a space carved out. It's just going to look different.
Yeah. I have to say that the couple of times that I've tried to get AI to design something, it has been a catastrophic disaster.
Yes.
Like, as in, I'm like, ugh, that is exactly not what I described. And I go try again, and I'm like, it is not getting any better. Scrap that, all of that in the bin. I was like, they look like kind of 1990s. Like brochures.
Yes.
Like I don't know where it's getting its design stuff from, but it is like that is a long way to go there. So that is an area I would definitely not be using design for. But something that you mentioned earlier, so bringing this back around to, the relationship marketing, and, I love the analogy of marketing being like dating. You were saying something like you don't want to attract someone that you don't want to be in a relationship with. And I was like, this is actually really important, because I think that, yes, obviously when you're having a relationship and you don't want to jump into getting married or having a partner that you're living with someone for the wrong reasons. And that's something I see people in business, often choosing for what I might call maybe the wrong reasons at times. Like, I'll choose that one because it's cheaper, but is it the better fit? And they'd be like, yeah, it's not, but I'm choosing it because of the price. And it's like, would you do that in a relationship? Literally, if you were meeting someone and you're like, we're going to have this, this is a relationship, you're definitely not choosing based on anything to do with, well, maybe some people do. I'm just like, yeah, there are some people who choose based on money, but does it ever work out well? Is it ever a good idea? I think usually that one comes back to bite you in the butt, doesn't it? What other things do you think in terms of, thinking about marketing, like dating and the relationship that we're building in business, what other kind of similarities do you see that we could extend there to help people think about their business in this different way? Because I think we're also, we understand the relationship piece with people. So how can we translate that for our business?
Yeah, well, I love this question because it actually gives me an opportunity to talk about this 4-part client attraction framework that I have. So we've kind of talked a little bit about the first part, which is discovering your type, right? This is figuring out who you're wanting to attract in the first place.
Yeah.
But then you have to create chemistry. So just because you want to attract some kind of specific kind of person doesn't mean that right away they're going to be drawn to you. Yes. I tell people that if you've ever watched like the show The Bachelor, your customer is like whoever the bachelor or bachelorette is that season. And you and all of your competitors are the contestants. At the end of the day, your customer is going to pick one of you. And you've got to create the right kind of chemistry with that customer to get them to choose you over and over and over again. Because as we've all learned in business, like it takes multiple touch points before someone is ready to purchase from you. So that's part of the buyer journey, but I call it the courting process. Like you are courting this person over and over and over again until they are ready to engage with you, until they are ready to be like, yeah, let's be in a relationship. I'd like to purchase from you. Now, the third part of this is all about setting the mood. So this is where a lot of that design, your messaging and stuff comes in because you need to get them comfortable enough during this courting process to move to these next phases. And after that, this is where, and a lot of businesses, they'll do these first 3 parts pretty well, right? Like this is what we've been taught. We understand this, but the 4th part is what gets people to keep coming back. And this is why I want people to think about their customers as dates and as these romantic partners, because the longer relationship that you can form with your customers, the more money you are going to wind up making. And it is going to be easier for you because your customer lifetime value is going to increase. Yeah. And so after they have purchased, now you need to maintain that happily ever after. So your relationship with this customer doesn't end at the purchase. Yeah. Like you want them to come back again and again and again. And it's like a marriage, right? People say for a happy marriage, you have to keep working at it. You've got to keep flirting. You've got to keep things fun and interacting. And you've got to keep that spark alive. And that is what I feel like a lot of businesses mess up on and kind of fall off. One of my favorite examples of a business that does this actually really, really well is Chewy. So Chewy, for those of you who don't know, is a like pet supply online shop. They've got subscription services too, and they've got like a food subscription. And something that is so smart from Chewy's brand and their marketing from a like happily ever after standpoint is they will do a bunch of things for their customers at random. Like for a while, they were sending like custom pet portraits to customers, right? Unprompted, unasked for, not paid for, but as a special gift and a token for like, hey, thank you so much for being loyal to us. We know you love your pet. We want you to love us too. Here's this wonderful pet portrait for you. But they also do something super unique, which is when your pet passes away, right? Like you don't need the pet food anymore. And oftentimes you're going through a grieving process. And so you will have likely forgotten to cancel your subscription. There's just a lot going on when you lose a pet. Yeah. Now, a lot of businesses at that point is like, okay, well, they don't have the pet anymore. They're not a customer anymore. So we'll end the interaction. But what Chewy does is you contact them, you let them know that your pet has passed away. If you got an extra amount of food that, your pet's no longer going to need, they tell you to donate it because you can't send it back, but they've refunded customers for that. And they have sent like flowers and handwritten cards to people who have lost their pets.
Wow.
Like that is so smart. It costs the company a little bit of money, but you know what happens? And what Chewy knows is that most people are going to get another pet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to have invested that time and shown how much they cared about their customers, those customers are so much more likely to then come back.
Mm-hmm.
And Chewy has seen like massive customer retention because of these choices that they have made in forming their relationships with customers. And so I always encourage businesses to think about like, what can you do for your customer after they have purchased from you? And not for the sake of getting them necessarily to buy again right away, but how can you show them that you care? How can you show them that they're valued? And it's something that, again, if we think about the direction that businesses have gone, like things you brought up, the money, like customers feel very transactional. And when we are approaching customers as transactions or as like one night stands, right? They can feel that.
Yeah.
They can feel that. And they're also then not going to be as invested in your growth and your success. But when you can build a true relationship with them, invest in them, they will invest back in you. And that investment doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be your energy. It can be your time. I know, I'm pretty sure Patagonia, who like has some really awesome values about like the environment and things like that, has actually created like this huge community around their brand of people who support that mission. And they host like gatherings and workshops and things that aren't necessarily like part of their products that they're selling, right? But this is a way to keep their people engaging with the brand. And that really is, the cherry on top. And it's I think is going to let a lot of businesses and help them stand apart as we move into this next era of marketing and business.
Yeah. So cool. I love those stories. So what do you think if someone like, Patagonia, big brand, and Chewy sounds like a fairly large business as well, lots of resources and obviously people and things that they can do, that cool kind of stuff. If you're a small, you're an online business, you're a service-based business, it's not so much about the products, what other things, like, how could someone step out of the box here and maybe do something that makes them more memorable and definitely, creates that longer term connection?
Yeah, so I love this question so much because there are so many like simple things that you can do. One is sending just a letter, like a handwritten thank you note. Or if you've got products, right, and you're sending out a product package, add in a little bonus here and there. Add in a sample. Maybe if you're a service-based business, you oftentimes during your onboarding will collect your customers or your clients' birthdays. Okay, make a note to send them something on their birthday. Let them know that you're thinking about them, not just when they're paying you.
Yeah.
Like for some of my clients, I was offering a service for a while. It was like a brand in a day kind of thing. So it was a very expedited branding process. And at the end of that, I would send my clients a thank you note, but I would also send them a pack of stickers of their new logos. And it was not something that they thought they were going to be getting. It was a very low cost for me, but made them feel like really excited to then show off their brand, which is great because it helps me get more visibility and more reviews, but also it makes sure that they're using the things that we built and so that they want to go out there and improve their business and show themselves off. And so there really are there's so many things. I tell people, think about the 5 love languages, right? Like you've got acts of service, your words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, and oh my gosh, I cannot think of the other one right now.
Doing something together, isn't it? Like
quality time. Yeah, exactly. like these 5 love languages can absolutely be incorporated into your brand. So sending a note, okay, cool. That's your words of affirmation. Acts of service, though, let's say that you see something that you, especially as a service-based business, that would be beneficial to a client. Maybe it's, hey, like I saw this marketing tactic that I was thinking of
Mm,
you. I think that this could be beneficial for you. Like something like that. Quality time. Hey, how about once a quarter, you offer a little networking thing of all your clients. They get together and they get to chat with you and ask questions, or you offer an office hours or something like that where they're getting FaceTime with you. Physical touch. I mean, if you're sending letters via mail, like get tangible with
yeah.
people, allow them to
Mm,
experience that. If you send products, make the unboxing process like an enjoyable process for them. Like there's so many things that
yeah.
you can do. Gifts, I mean, obviously send a gift if you want to send a gift, but there's
Yeah.
lots of different ways that you can incorporate this love for your customers so that they love your brand back, because
Mm,
people want to invest in things that, number one, they believe in, and that helps them solve whatever problem, but also clearly cares about who they are
yeah.
as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's some awesome ideas in there. And, I think it's that thing where even so for example, with my kind of business where somebody may have invested in a program or a course or something like that with me, and they've probably finished it. But to me, it's like, it's not finished. And so I love to think about it like it's like the gift that keeps on giving. So, then there's like, hey, I'm hosting something for other people, it's paid, but because you're an existing customer, I'm going to give you a free pass to it. So I do stuff like
Yes.
that just out of the blue. They're never expecting it. They didn't ask for it, but it's like I love to do that as just something, because to me it's like that way of like, yeah, you're still important to me. It's not just because you invested in something. And some of my clients, it's like 5 years ago, right, that they, or even more, like 8 years
Yes.
ago they first invested, and I'm like, no, you're still here. Like I still consider you part of my inner circle, and I'm still going to keep reaching out and keep on nurturing that relationship, because yeah, like you say, it's so much easier to do. And, whether or not they're still purchasing, I don't think that matters. It's more that there is a connection there. There's still a need, as in, not a need, maybe that's the wrong word. There's still a desire and there's value to be had. And I think that, you never know what's going to come next, right? When isn't the next
Right.
thing around the corner? It's like, well, who's going to be the first person that they might turn to when they need help? And hopefully they would turn back to the person who helped them before. So it's I love that. It's such a cool way to think about it, like that longer term. And it's so much more, beyond the conversation of the onboarding process, which, I think
Yes.
that one gets said a lot. And yes, it is important. We all do it. But, you've mentioned some things here today that are like outside of that. That's like, actually, let's think about this on much more of a human level as well. Not saying the onboarding process isn't human, but the onboarding, I think, is its own special time where people need specific information and to be taken through a process in a way that feels good. That you're talking about this at an actual full relationship level. Like, let's actually really get connected on an emotional level and not just on a logical level, where they may have made that decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, and you brought up too, and I think it's important to note that even if the person doesn't purchase from you again, like they can very easily refer people to you.
Yeah, the
And you
advocacy.
will be remembered for the
Mm,
way, right? For the way that you make someone feel. And
mm,
so if you make them feel good, the next time that someone is asking them about something that could point back towards you and your service or product, they are far more likely to remember you over someone who didn't make them feel good or who just made them feel neutral,
mm.
right? Like we're not necessarily saying that everyone who doesn't make them feel good is making them feel
No,
bad.
exactly.
By going above and
Mm,
beyond, like you're forming that connection that makes you a lot more memorable and far more likely to be referred, or again, the customers that come back. But I think that's important to note because it's not always like they won't necessarily have to purchase again, but they like word of mouth are your best advocates.
Yeah.
They are your best
Absolutely.
advocates.
They're your new advertising team that you actually aren't really paying for. Like it is that experience that you've created. So you think about it, like every time you build another relationship like that, you're adding to your external outsourced sales team or whatever you want to call it. Like, because I have people jump on, they say to me, I tell so many people about you. And I always think, gosh, that is just so nice. Like, I haven't asked them to do that. They are doing it because they genuinely want to help whoever they're talking to. And they're like, hey, I know who you should go and speak to. And I'm like, that's just incredible. And I'm always so grateful for it, and surprised as well, because, you don't realize that people will still think about you until they tell you, right? But it's nice to know.
Right.
And that's you probably don't even realize how many conversations are going on out there where maybe people are mentioning your name and steering people towards you, whether that person decides to take action or not. I mean, that's up to them. But it all adds up. It's like the breadcrumbs. So that's why you want to think about marketing so much more holistically. It's not like it's one action or one transaction or one ad. Oh, it's not working. It's like, no, it's planting a seed. That's planting another seed. That's planting another seed. Like, eventually the seeds are going to grow into little, saplings, and then they'll grow into a forest. But it takes time, and it compounds and it expands as well over time. So you will notice a difference, but you just have to keep going.
Exactly.
So, Hunter, this has been such a great conversation. And you shared with me before we jumped on that you've been talking a lot about the synergies between dating and relationships and marketing on your YouTube channel. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and where people could go and tune in and hear a bit more from you on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you guys liked this conversation and the topics that Jessica and I dove into today, like, definitely come and check out the channel. I talk about this kind of thing. I drop new videos once a week. I also host my own podcast over there where I interview a lot of other entrepreneurs. They talk about their expertise, but also how they got into business in the first place. We kind of talk about the nitty gritty and the things below the surface. So maybe the not highlight reel, or I like to call it the blooper reels of business. And so you can come and find me. It's the little is at Verdure Design Co. I know that is hard to spell, so we're going to make sure that we put that in the show notes so that you can easily find it. But definitely come and hang out with me over there, interact in the comments and stuff. If there's certain videos that you want made too, or you have specific questions about some of the things we talked about, like, let me know. You can also connect with me on Instagram too. Like, I am happy to create anything. I love talking. So I am here to talk about any topic that you guys have questions about. So that's where you can find me.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We will hook that up in the show notes. So go and check out Hunter's YouTube channel, tune into her podcast. There's definitely going to be lots of really fun, interesting things to listen to and to learn and experience over there. So thank you so much for joining me today, Hunter. It's been amazing.
Yes, thank you.